Welcome to the AI Checkpoints.
Hello.
Today, we are diving deep into Anthropic's pretty new release, Claude Sonnet 4.5.
Right, and there's a whole stack of information they put out alongside it. We're going to unpack why they believe this is a significant shift in what AI can actually do.
Okay, but before we really get into the weeds, just a quick heads up for you listening. This content is generated by AI. We're synthesizing the raw information straight from Anthropic's announcement, the one titled Introducing Claude Sonnet 4.5.
Yeah, and our mission here is basically to cut through any hype and figure out what really makes this model different. What's the core substance behind the claim that it's a disruptive force?
I have to say, looking through it, the one thing that really jumped out at me first wasn't even a benchmark score.
Oh, what was it?
It was the claim that this model can actually maintain focus for, get this, over 30 hours on complex multi-step tasks.
Okay, yeah.
That alone, that changes what you even think of as an AI assistant, right?
It absolutely does, because when we talk about frontier intelligence now, we're really moving beyond just slightly faster chatbots.
Right.
So our goal today is to synthesize how Sonnet 4.5 pulls off this performance leap. We really want to focus on how it changes long horizon autonomy, what Anthropic calls agentic work, and crucially, what new safety standards come with this jump in capability.
It feels like we're watching AI shift from being just a code helper to maybe an AI project manager.
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
So let's unpack their main claims because they're not being shy. Anthropic is basically positioning Sonnet 4.5 as the best coding model in the world and the strongest model for building complex agents. Those are pretty bold statements in this field.
They really are fighting words, like you said. But, the data they're citing seems intended to back up that level of confidence.
Okay, so what's the evidence? Especially on the coding side.
Well, the main thing they point to is state-of-the-art performance on the SWE-bench Verified evaluation.
Right, SWE-bench. For anyone who maybe doesn't follow benchmarks closely, this isn't just solving little textbook problems, is it?
No, not at all. SWE-bench is tough. It measures how well the model can fix real-world bugs, actual issues found in, live GitHub repositories that the model hasn't seen before.
So it's like a production test, not a lab test.
Exactly. And they reported an average score of 77.2%. Now, that's averaged over 10 trials with a pretty large 200K thinking budget.
Okay, 77.2%. How does that connect back to the 30-hour focus thing you mentioned earlier?
Well, when you put that score together with the ability to stay focused for over 30 hours on these complicated multi-step tasks, it suggests something more than just code completion. It points towards a machine that could potentially handle architectural planning, long-term project management, not just spitting out single code snippets.
Okay, but coding is one thing. What about, just general smarts? Reasoning, using a computer like a person would.
Yeah, good question. They also highlight a big jump on OSWorld. That's the main benchmark for simulating real-world computer tasks and interactions.
And the jump was?
Sonnet 4.5 is leading now at 61.4%. And just to give you context on the speed here, the previous model, Sonnet 4, held the lead only 4 months ago, and it was at 42.2%.
Wow, okay. That's a huge leap in just 4 months.
It really is. That kind of acceleration suggests these models are getting rapidly better at actually navigating and using the digital world, not just processing text.
And did they mention improvements in other areas like specialized knowledge?
They did. They specifically mentioned that experts in fields like finance, law, medicine, and STEM fields found dramatically better domain-specific knowledge and reasoning.
Which is important
Because it means the improvement isn't just superficial. It's deep enough to understand the jargon, the complex rules in those specialized areas without needing, tons of extra human guidance or retraining for every little thing.
Okay, so the benchmarks are impressive, the acceleration is notable, but numbers are numbers. Let's talk impact.
Yeah.
How does this actually translate for people using it? The so what factor.
Right, the real world stuff.
The source material gives some pretty concrete examples, especially around software development speed. We're hearing from users of tools like Cursor and GitHub Copilot, and they're reporting significant improvements on longer horizon tasks, which sounds like it directly feeds into building those more complex, multi-step agentic things you mentioned.
Exactly. And some of the customer specifics are, honestly, maybe even more compelling than the raw benchmarks.
Like what?
Well, take Devon, for example. They focus on using AI for engineering tasks. They reported Sonnet 4.5 boosted their planning performance by 18% and their end-to-end evil scores by 12%.
Okay, that's substantial.
Yeah, and they apparently called it the biggest efficiency jump they'd seen since like an earlier major model release. It wasn't just incremental.
And there was another one about code editing errors that caught my eye. It sounded almost too good to be true.
Ah, yes. The one where an early customer went from a 9% error rate on their internal code editing tests with Sonnet 4
Right.
down to basically 0% with Sonnet 4.5.
0%.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild.
Yeah.
Does that mean we can finally stop doing tedious code reviews for simple stuff?
Maybe not stop, but it certainly suggests a level of precision we haven't really seen before. It could definitely let human reviewers focus on the bigger picture, strategy, security architecture, rather than nitpicking syntax.
And this precision isn't just for coding, right? You mentioned other fields.
Right. It seems to extend into these high-stakes areas, too. Like in cybersecurity, security agents apparently cut their average vulnerability intake time by 44%.
24% faster.
And boosted accuracy by 25% at the same time, which is pretty huge in security.
Definitely. And legal.
The claim there is that it can handle most complex litigation tasks, things like analyzing, entire briefing cycles, doing the background research, and even drafting initial versions of judicial opinions.
Wow. That's starting to sound like automating some serious paralegal or even junior associate level work.
It does seem to be pushing into that territory. And similarly in finance, they're talking about it delivering investment-grade insights for complex analysis, risk modeling, structured products.
Stuff that usually requires a lot of human oversight.
Exactly. And the claim is it needs less human review. So yeah, it's aiming at automating some pretty deep intellectual work, even in highly regulated industries.
Okay, even creative industries are seeing benefits.
Yeah, a couple examples there too. Canva apparently said the model is noticeably more intelligent, especially on complex tasks with long context, which matters for their huge user base.
240 million users, yeah.
Right. And Figma saw improvements in their Figma Make feature, made it easier to prompt, iterate, just smoother interactions overall.
Okay, so the performance picture is becoming clearer. It's faster, smarter, more precise across the board. But you can't have an agent working for 30 hours straight without some serious tools under the hood, right? What's the infrastructure Anthropic is providing to actually enable all this?
That's a key part of the announcement, yeah. The product enhancements seem really focused on making these long-running autonomous agents practical.
Like what specifically?
Well, first, they added a feature people apparently really wanted called checkpoints in Claude code.
Checkpoints, like in a video game.
Sort of. Think of it like version control, but for the agent's thought process or workflow. So if you have a task running for, say, 25 hours and it crashes or goes completely off track.
You don't lose everything.
Exactly. You don't lose all that context and progress. You can apparently roll back instantly to a previous state. That kind of stability is absolutely essential if you want to reliably run these really long, complex projects they're talking about.
Makes sense. Anything else on the tooling front?
Yeah. They also rolled out some key integrations, a refreshed terminal interface, and probably more importantly, a native VS Code extension.
So bringing it right into where developers already work.
Precisely. Lowering the friction to use it in existing workflows.
And on the API side, I saw mentions of context editing and a memory tool. Why a specific memory tool? Doesn't it just read its context window?
That's a really good question because, yeah, it has a large context window. But think about a 30-hour task. Just scrolling back through potentially millions of tokens of chat history isn't really efficient or reliable for, true memory.
Yeah.
The memory tool sounds like it gives the AI a more structured way to keep track of things' long-term goals. Who said what days ago, its current plan, without just relying on the potentially cluttered context window. It's about giving it persistent, structured recall for true long-term autonomy.
Got it. So checkpoints for stability, integrations for workflow, memory for persistence. This sounds like a pretty significant infrastructure build-out.
It does. And that leads us to maybe the biggest product part of the announcement. The Claude Agent SDK.
SDK software development kit. So they're giving developers the tools to build these agents themselves.
That's exactly what it sounds like. They're essentially sharing the underlying infrastructure that they use to build their own advanced products, like Claude Code.
Why did they do that?
Well, the strategic thinking is likely to accelerate the whole field, right? By giving developers these tools, they're hoping people can build even more sophisticated things on top of Sonnet 4.5. The SDK is designed specifically to tackle those really hard problems like managing memory efficiently over days or getting multiple specialized sub-agents to work together on one big goal.
So it's shifting from just using AI to write code to building autonomous systems with AI as the engine.
That seems to be the paradigm shift they're aiming for, yeah.
And they had a demo of this too, right? Something called Imagine with Claude.
Yes, that was a temporary research preview, only available for about 5 days for their Max subscribers, I think.
And what did it do?
It was basically a demonstration of the model plus the infrastructure working together. You give it a prompt, and it generates actual working software on the fly. The key point they stressed was that none of the code was pre-written. It was the model using Sonnet 4.5 and these new tools to build something functional in real time.
Okay, powerful stuff. But with great power comes great responsibility, right? As these capabilities shoot upwards, safety becomes even more critical. Anthropic claims this is their most aligned frontier model yet. What are they actually doing on the safety front? Especially now that it can use computer tools.
That's the crucial question. And yeah, giving an agent the ability to execute code and interact with systems definitely raises the stakes. They specifically called out defending against prompt injection attacks as one of the most serious risks here.
Makes sense if someone can trick the agent into running malicious code.
Exactly. So they report making considerable progress in hardening the model against those kinds of attacks.
What about other alignment issues? Like the model just being weird or unhelpful?
They mentioned improvements there too, specifically reducing behaviors like sycophancy, just telling you what you want to hear.
Right.
Also deception, power-seeking tendencies, and even reducing its tendency to encourage like delusional thinking in users, trying to make it more grounded and reliable.
And are there formal safety protocols around this release, like a rating system?
Yes, they're releasing Sonnet 4.5 under what they call AI Safety Level 3 or ASL3.
ASL3, what does that mean in practical terms?
It's a designation that implies pretty strict safeguards are in place. This includes using classifier filters designed to spot potentially dangerous inputs or outputs. They specifically mention filters targeting misuse related to CBRN, that's chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear weapons.
Okay, so serious guardrails for serious risks.
Right, but they also noted they're working hard to make sure those filters don't constantly block legitimate uses. They said they've reduced false positives, harmless content getting flagged by mistake by a factor of 10 compared to when they first described these systems.
So trying to strike that balance between security and usability.
Seems like it, yeah. Balancing necessary caution with not making the tool frustrating to use for normal tasks.
Okay, so let's try to pull all these threads together. We've got the top-tier coding scores, these customer reports of near-zero errors, this whole new infrastructure with checkpoints and the Agent SDK, plus the ASL3 safety measures. What's the final takeaway message for you, the listener, from all this?
I think the immediate practical message from Anthropic is that Sonnet 4.5 is meant to be a powerful, efficient, and basically a drop-in replacement for their previous models. It's ready for production now.
And it's available now. How do people access it?
Yep. Available today via the Claude API. You just specify the model name, Claude Sonnet 4.5.
Okay. And pricing. Did the price jump with all these new capabilities?
Surprisingly, no. They kept the pricing the same as Sonnet 4, which is 3 per $1 million input tokens and 15 per $1 million output tokens. That itself suggests some significant efficiency gains under the hood.
Same price, more power. That's usually a good pitch.
It is. But I think the bigger, more strategic takeaway isn't just about the price or even the raw performance on single tasks.
What is it then?
It's about what happens when you combine that 30-hour focus capability with the new Claude Agent SDK. This whole package seems to signal a deliberate move away from just automating single queries or simple tasks.
Towards automating much larger chunks of work.
Exactly. Towards automating potentially complex multi-day projects. Things that involve planning, execution, revision, entire work cycles that, until now, really required constant human attention and management. This model seems engineered to manage that kind of long-haul complexity.
So if this really is the start of the truly autonomous code manager or project manager, makes you wonder what complex task are you going to delegate first?
That's the provocative thought, isn't it? What really long, complex thing could you hand off?
Something to think about. Okay, that wraps up our deep dive for today.
Great discussion.
Hit like and subscribe if you like the content. See you next time.